Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, police are probing a deadly shooting at a municipal police base in San Fernando. The body of a female police constable bearing gunshot injuries was discovered early Sunday morning at the San Fernando City Corporation Municipal Police Office at King's Wharf. The find was made shortly after 6 a.m. when officers reported for duty. Investigators say the station's firearms vault was found open and cleared, with a quantity of weapons and ammunition missing. The incident has heightened concerns about the potential circulation of those firearms. Early reports indicate that 3 officers had been on duty at the location before the discovery. So what happened to the other 2? Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar responded in a social media post later on yesterday, and she said, "I've been advised that the incident which occurred earlier today at the San Fernando City Corporation Municipal Police Station on King's Wharf was not an external attack on the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service or the National State Security Services. It was an internal betrayal perpetrated against the Trinidad and Tobago Municipal Police Service attached to the San Fernando City Corporation." Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara says all officers assigned to duty at the time of the murder of WPC Anushka Eversley at the San Fernando Municipal Police Station will be taken in for questioning as authorities work to determine the circumstances surrounding the killing. But I read online, correct me if I'm wrong, one of those officers, I believe, has already been arrested. But I don't know. By later today, I'll be able to get a lot more information. And once there's an update, I will update you all whether tomorrow or probably the next day. Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander said, despite this morning's brazen attack in which a police officer was found dead in San Fernando Municipal Police Station, he remains confident in the police service. Now, before I go on to give my contribution from online, number one, yes, it appears to be that the other two police officers, well, at least we think so, we're assuming so. I don't think they would have had any duty outside of the police station, the municipal police station that hour of the morning. Who knows? So during investigations, when investigations continue, we'll be able to determine where these other 2 officers were located at the time when that crime took place. But most likely, they are involved in this heinous crime. And it has to be that it was a plot. It was a plot to not just murder this woman, but to also steal state-owned weapons and ammunition. So there's a whole lot more behind this story. So as much as the Prime Minister, the Commissioner of Police is trying to tell us that this is only an internal issue, I'm not really sure about how truthful that is. I'm not saying that the Prime Minister is misleading us, I'm saying once again that the police always jumps to conclusions before conducting a thorough investigation. And I'm sure a lot of you will agree with me when I ask the question, do you really believe that it's just those 2 other municipal police officers that was involved in this crime? And what are they going to do with all that ammunition and firearms? It doesn't make sense. They had to do it for somebody on the outside. They had to do it because they were probably either paid or they were working along with individuals on the outside to be able to provide arms and ammunition for them. And probably they had some kind of personal issue with the woman as well. We don't know. We don't know for sure. Maybe she was not part of their criminal activities or whatsoever. And of course, dead man tell no tales, or she was probably a witness. She probably realized what was going on and opposed what was going on. We don't know. There's a whole lot more investigations that need to be conducted when it pertains to this situation, and we don't know if this is related to any of the other significant statements and situations that have been taking place. So we don't know if this was still an attack on our national security, Madam Prime Minister. I'm not trying to make you look as though you are lying. I'm not saying that you are lying or anything like that. I'm just saying that the information that the police gave you could very well be very premature and misleading at this point in time, because it doesn't make sense that if it was that they had just murdered the WPC, then okay. But all the arms and ammunition was taken as well. For what reason? Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar and Minister of Homeland Security and Commissioner of Police. Yes, I ain't no genius. I only have O-levels in CXC, 6 O-levels in CXC. But at the end of the day, number one, I watch a whole lot of crime shows that based on real life investigations. And number two, God has blessed me with common sense. And therefore, to me, this story is not adding up at this point in time to just say that was an internal issue. Maybe it's a mixture of both internal, and these individuals are probably affiliated with very serious criminal gangs or members of our society on the outside. But my response online was, your loyalty now lies with we the people of Trinidad and Tobago, Roger Alexander. Wake up and realize that the TTPS, of course, the TTPS and the Municipal Police Service have different identities, people. But it doesn't matter because they're all identified as police officers and they all have the powers of arrest and so forth, and they have to be respected as police officers, even though they do not have the TTPS, the badge or whatsoever on them, okay? So anyhow, I wanted to say, the training process needs to change in order to ensure that police officers don't enter active service believing that they're above the law, because this just proves once again how many individuals in the police service are only there for money, to make money, and to be also legal bad boys. I'm telling you, something about this story is just not adding up. I doubt this was just a personal issue or anything like that. I wanted to say all rogue cops who continue to extort, traffic, and commit extrajudicial killings must be relieved of their duties and, of course, imprisoned. Wendell Eversley says the female municipal police officer murdered was his niece. He's calling for both the ministers of Homeland Security and Defense to be fired. I wonder if he ever called for the Captain Cole Putt, Heath Scotland, and this man, Hines, to be fired when multiple mass shootings took place under the PNM. Well, this wasn't a mass shooting, but what I'm saying is, and female police officers also died under the PNM. Did he ever call for their resignation in spite of their incompetence? For 9.5 years, he went on to say even this morning that the government is failing to reduce crime. Now, of course, at this point in time, that's really a fact. What I'm saying is these individuals, were they speaking the same way while PNM was in office? We are talking about UNC has only been in office for 1 year just now. Just 28th of April will make it 1 year. And you really want to be calling on the Minister of Homeland Security and Minister of Defense to resign because of this crime? As though everything was all well and good while PNM was in office. I mean, it's ridiculous. My response, condolences to you and your family, but why make this a political issue? Why must the Minister of Homeland Security be fired due to this crime being committed? It's actually quite disturbing that you appear to be using this tragedy to score political points, and the Kakash media enjoying it, every moment of it. All they're doing up to this morning is posting how he's saying that the government has failed. They inherited this crime crisis from the PNM. Now, as I have said on multiple occasions, I don't think they are really addressing the actual issues completely and effectively. They don't realize, even the Prime Minister doesn't realize, that the TTPS is corrupt to the core and needs to be reformed. I have called in the past for the disbandment of the TTPS, but of course that's not going to happen. So therefore we need reformation. We need reformation of the TTPS. But it's going to be extremely difficult because to clean out such a corrupt organization, such a corrupt agency, it's going to be very hard. If you had disbanded it, but then people will say, so who will protect and serve in the meantime? I don't know, maybe just have the corrupt regiment do it in the meantime, but then of course that real corrupt too. But I don't think they're as corrupt as the police service. Everybody knows, the whole nation knows that there are a lot of police officers involved in human trafficking, drug trafficking, controlling, actually even controlling a lot of drug blocks and stuff like that here in Trinidad and Tobago. Extortion, well known for extortion. And definitely they're well known also for breaking our normal laws. The vast majority of police officers are law-abiding though, don't get tied up. They're law-abiding just like us, but they break the minor laws like the parking and so forth, just like the rest of us. The only difference is they believe they're above the law, and that's the problem. A lot of them start off being law-abiding, but because they believe they're above the law, they end up getting involved in a lot of different serious crimes later on during their careers. So with Prime Minister Kamala Pasabi says, so number one, we need to focus on cleaning up the TTPS. And number two, we need to get a hold of gang culture, this indoctrination. Generations have been indoctrinated into believing that a life of crime is lit and is beneficial because you could be able to live a zest life, a very luxurious life, although a lot of these individuals still live in very serious poverty. And the usage of drugs, weed, this glorification of weed needs to end in public and on our media. And these DJs wheeling and selecting, run the tune again, glorification of weed and glorification of gang culture. It needs to stop. It's indoctrination, people, and it's evil.
It's time we wake up and smell the coffee and demand recognitions from people in high office holders. And I'm saying it, the Minister of Homeland Security need to be fired. The Minister of Defense need to be fired. Trinidad and Tobago, you is the population, you the citizen of this country. We put politicians there. They have to come to us. And it's time we call on them to remove themselves from office if they cannot do the job.
On Monday, April 20th, 2026, Trinidad and Tobago is expected to be generally sunny and slightly hazy, although isolated showers may occur. High temperatures will reach around 31 degrees Celsius, with a heat index making it feel closer to 35 degrees Celsius. Key forecast details. Saharan dust, mild to moderate concentrations of Saharan dust are present in the atmosphere. Sensitive individuals should take necessary precautions regarding air quality. Marine conditions, seas are expected to be moderate with open water waves up to 2.0 meters. Spring tides are currently in effect. Winds will be coming from the east to east-southeast at speeds of 5 to 35 kilometers per hour. Sun and humidity, the UV index is expected to be very high at level 8 and humidity levels will range between 65% to 85%. Sunrise, 5:50 a.m. Sunset, 6:15 p.m.
Regional news now. Guyana's rapid rise in the oil and gas sector over the past 5 years has been described as unprecedented, even as the country maintains a strong safety record with no major offshore incidents to date, according to Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat. He pointed to the country's exceptional exploration success, particularly in deep water operations, explaining that ExxonMobil is doing exploration in over 5,000 feet of deep water, and to accomplish a success rate at discovery wells of almost 85% that has never been heard of in the industry. So God is really blessing them significantly there. The minister also underscored the sector's strong safety performance, emphasizing that we have never really encountered any major incident. And don't boast in yourself. Thank God for that. He said the government remains happy about that and thankful about that, while maintaining preparedness for any potential risk. And that's the thing about it. Don't become complacent. Don't become too boastful. Continue to take the proper precautions and so forth, and continue to give God the glory or above all. I wonder if the professor in Jamaica reads about the accomplishments taking place in Guyana because of the energy sector, the same energy sector, the same oil industry that he does not want Jamaica to invest in. I'm telling you, I can't understand that professor from Jamaica at all. He sounds like one of those liberal Democrats in America. The Jamaican Senate recently approved the Casino Gaming Regulations 2025, marking a significant step toward diversifying the nation's tourism and entertainment sectors. anything to generate revenue at this point in time is welcome. Led by Government Senator Rose Bennett Cooper, the legislation emphasizes a responsible push for growth by integrating high-end casino operations within large-scale integrated resort developments. The strategic move is designed to attract international investment, create diverse job opportunities for locals, and strengthen the island's economic infrastructure through transparent, law-abiding fiscal frameworks. Central to this new legislation is a steadfast commitment to public safety and ethical standards. Senator Bennett Cooper highlighted that regulations include robust safeguards specifically designed to prevent harmful gambling practices and protect vulnerable groups, including children. By empowering the Casino Gaming Commission with expanded oversight and enforcement capabilities, Jamaica aims to build a world-class gaming industry that prioritizes fair play and social responsibility alongside its economic objectives. And of course, this is what you're supposed to be focused on, finding ways of being innovative, diversifying your economy instead of imposing new taxes. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, reconsider those new taxes, people. You cannot tax a nation into prosperity or recovery. The government of the Bahamas is pushing back against concerns raised by the United States over the New Providence Hospital project, calling the comments on an unusual intervention in the public affairs of the Bahamas. In other words, why it is America coming and getting involved in we problems, or we issues, Jed, or we governance, Jed? But anyhow, in a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said there are no unresolved or unaddressed matters connected to the agreement and noted that all relevant documents have been tabled in Parliament. So America just lying then. Once again, probably because why? Trump in power. One of them would have said that if Biden was still president. Officials said before reaching a financing agreement with China, the Bahamas engaged the U.S. government on several occasions over a 3-year period, but no financing response matching the project's urgency and scale was received. So that's the whole problem there. America is concerned about China because China continues to use their monies. They're a lot of money, very rich nation, to influence the politics in our region, and that's what America is concerned about Jamaica. The government added that suggestions it acted with haste are misplaced, insisting the project is in the best interest of the Bahamian people. Of course, once it is you're being wise about it, and you don't allow China to influence your politics, then fine, maybe America will say, well, you know what? It's your country at the end of the day, so do it, whatever you have to do. But they're showing concern because they know how the government I love China, you know, but the communist government in China cannot be trusted. You cannot allow them to have too much power and control in your countries, your respective countries. And when they invest millions of dollars, a lot of the times it's because they have the intentions of influencing politics in your nation. International news now. President Donald Trump said U.S. negotiators will head to Pakistan on Monday for another round of talks with Iran, raising hopes of extending a fragile ceasefire set to expire by Wednesday, even as Washington and Tehran remain in a standoff over the Strait of Hormuz. My response: stop negotiating with the IRGC and Ayatollah terrorists who will continue to make promises that they will break. Matter of fact, even during the meetings, they will tell you, yes, we want a meeting, just to kind of delay things. And then during the meeting, they will say, no, I'm not going to agree with that. Certain things that they will promise to abide by, they're going to violate as well. They will always find a reason to violate any ceasefire deal because their main agenda for over 40 years has been to destroy both Israel and the USA. That ain't going to stop no matter what deal you make with them, President Trump. The rest of Western civilization will be targeted afterwards. Don't be fooled, my dear tribal Trinis and those in the Caribbean. Which is not going to happen because I believe the Bible knows exactly what will take place. If the Ayatollah, if Iran was able and their proxies were able to destroy both Israel and America, they were going after all other Western civilization nations as well in order to enforce Sharia law. All of you who enjoy the alphabet soup all through the Caribbean and in America would have had to end up bowing down and abiding by Sharia law. I went on to say, meanwhile, Caribbean citizens continue to support these radical jihadists, even though more than 40,000 Iranian protesters were murdered earlier this year by the Ayatollah regime. President Trump, finished the job. Federal authorities have arrested an Iranian woman at Los Angeles International Airport, alleging she brokered deals to sell, listen to it, Iranian-made drones, bombs, bomb fuses, assault weapons, and millions of rounds of ammunition to Sudan, according to a newly unsealed criminal complaint. Those are the patriots in America who are living and enjoying the Western civilization life, while involved, number one, promoting anti-Zionism and hatred towards Western civilization, and also associating themselves with terrorists in the Middle East and in Africa.
This story just into our newsroom this morning. A Los Angeles woman arrested for trafficking arms on behalf of the Iranian government. Correspondent Max Gordon is in the Southland with more on that for us. Max, a crazy story with incredible pictures from the airport.
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. Last night, 44-year-old Shamim Mafi, an Iranian national now living in the L.A. area, was arrested at LAX just before getting on a flight to Turkey. She's accused of trafficking arms on behalf of the Iranian government. According to the FBI's Iran counterintelligence squad, Mafi is accused of selling Iranian-manufactured bombs, drones, assault weapons, and millions of rounds of ammunition to Sudan. Mafi was allegedly coordinating with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to the federal government, one of the contracts was worth 60 million euros, brokering the sale of Iranian-made drones between Iran's defense ministry and Sudan. In another instance, Mafi is accused of selling 55,000 bomb fuses to the Sudanese military. According to the criminal complaint, Mafi is a lawful permanent U.S. resident, though not a citizen. She was born in Iran, relocated to Turkey, but most recently has lived in Woodland Hills, California. Mafi travels frequently to Iran, Turkey, Oman, and other countries, and according to the feds, executed her illegal weapons brokering scheme from multiple locations, including right here in California. She's currently charged with conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. If convicted, Mafi faces up to 20 years in federal prison. Kevin, back to you.
Interesting facts and inspirational true stories. Heartbreak turned into hope when a grieving mother dog who had lost her puppies was introduced to a litter of orphaned kittens. Instead of rejecting them, she gently welcomed them, letting them nurse and keeping them warm like they were her own. Similar rescue stories have touched millions online, showing the powerful bond animals can form across species. What began in loss became a story of healing, comfort, and unconditional love. Sometimes family is chosen in the most beautiful ways. Welcome to Real Conservative News Travel Adventures. The Makgadikgadi salt pans offer a stark, haunting beauty that feels like stepping onto the surface of another planet. Located in the middle of the dry savanna of northeastern Botswana, these pans are among the largest salt flats in the world, stretching across thousands of square miles. What remains today is a shimmering white crust of salt that glitters under a relentless sun, a vast and silent expanse where the horizon disappears into a heat-haze blur, creating an eerie sense of infinite space. For the adventurous soul, the pans are a playground of extreme environments. During the dry season, the crust is hard enough to traverse by quad bike, allowing travelers to roar across the salt flats into a void where there are no landmarks and no sound but the wind. As night falls, the experience becomes even more surreal. With no light pollution for hundreds of miles, the sky transforms into a glittering canopy of stars so bright they seem to touch the ground. Camping out under this big sky is a rite of passage for those seeking true solitude and a raw connection to the elements. Despite the harsh conditions, the Makgadikgadi is a place of incredible wildlife spectacles. It is home to famous colonies of habituated meerkats that may use a human head as a lookout post to scan for predators. In the surrounding golden grasslands, you can find the brown hyena and the desert-adapted Kalahari lion. When the rains arrive, the pans undergo a miraculous transformation, filling with water to attract one of Africa's largest zebra and wildebeest migrations, as well as thousands of flamingos that turn the white landscape into a sea of vibrant pink. Exploring this region is a journey into the great empty, where the silence is as powerful as the scenery. It is a land of mirages and ancient baobab trees, some of which have stood as sentinels for centuries, offering a stark contrast to the lush waterways of the Okavango. Whether you are racing across the salt on 4 wheels or sitting quietly with a family of meerkats, the Makgadikgadi provides an adventure of scale and stillness that is found nowhere else on Earth. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you again tomorrow as our journey around the world continues. Bible quote of the day. This is what the Lord says: He who appoints the sun to shine by day, who decrees the moon and stars to shine by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar, the Lord Almighty is his name. Only if these decrees vanish from my sight, declares the Lord, will Israel ever cease being a nation before me. Jeremiah chapter 31 verses 35 to 36.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.